Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to have everybody here on this funny, unofficial, we'll just say LifeWave launch, just to tell everybody about this amazing product. So we are very grateful for everybody that's here. Thank you, Kim, for presenting with me, and Mandy inviting everybody. We are very happy about that. So I'm going to quickly start by just telling you who I am, so you at least know who's the person pressing the buttons on this side. And then I'm going to ask Kim to tell us her story. And then I'll be telling you more about the products and the batches, how that works. And then we will have a time in between where we're going to have some testimonies. And then Kim is going to tell us more about the business opportunity and why we believe in the company. But I also want to say we're just normal people. We can just be informal and enjoy ourselves here. We are not professional speakers, so we can just be calm and enjoy ourselves here. All right, so my name is Amanda Eis. I live in Grootbroek on a farm. I heard about LifeWave a year ago in January, and I thought it was the biggest lot of nonsense that I've ever heard about. I didn't believe in a stupid little patch that can make any difference. I didn't realize at that stage how many people were in pain. So I thought, how can you make a business from people in pain? It was just stupid to me. And then my sister started with it. I was actually very angry at her getting involved with such nonsense. And she's always had pain. She's been on anti-inflammatories for 30 years. She's had pain her whole life through very many skeletal problems. And she got great results. And despite that, I was thinking this is nonsense. But then I got COVID in March last year, and I got extremely sick, and I couldn't get out of bed. After 4 weeks, I was still in bed. I was an entrepreneur. I had to earn an income, and I couldn't get out of bed. And I said to my husband one day, just come and walk with me, because I'm like stuck in the house for 4 weeks already. Can't even get in front of my desk. And we tried walking, but 150 meters later, my heart wanted to jump out of my chest. And it was a very scary place to be, because you realize you have to work, you have to earn an income, but you can't even walk 150 meters. At that stage, if I wanted to put makeup on, I was out of breath. And my sister was so worried about me that she sent me some patches. I put the Saturday morning, I put the patch in the back of my neck. I didn't believe that it would do anything, but I mean, my sister sent it. And I immediately felt like a detox effect. My head felt so thick, I couldn't think. And I just thought, I'm just going to sleep. And I woke up 2 hours later. There was no symptoms anymore of any COVID, nothing. And I didn't believe it, because, I mean, who believes anything like that? It doesn't make sense. But I just went on. And the Sunday we went to church, and I walked very slowly because I was so scared of doing damage to my heart, but there was nothing wrong. Monday, I thought, let me go and walk and see how far I can go. We live in the mountains on a farm. And I went walking with my dog. And that day I walked 1.5 kilos in the mountains, no problem. That Friday, when I looked at my watch, I'd already walked 9,000 steps. It was just amazing. And so I was converted. I started patching people. And since then, I realized that the longer you keep on patching, the more changes happen in your body. So since then, my skin has improved dramatically. I sleep amazingly. That's so wonderful. And my husband and I went for blood tests recently. My kidney functions have improved. I didn't even know there was anything wrong. My kidney functions improved. And my husband's thyroid medication was halved from previously. So this is what keeps on happening as you keep on using it. Even more and more and more things start happening. So actually very exciting. So that's my long story, but I'd like to give it over to Kim to tell us, Kim, why did you get involved? What's your story? What results do you have? And can't wait to hear that.
Thanks, Amanda. And it's always nice to hear your story. I always learn something new every time. So my name's Kim Knight. At the moment, I'm in a place called White River in Mpumalanga. Never ever realized I would be a land up here, but I am very happy to be here. So I was introduced to LifeWave almost a year ago, by the way, Amanda, on the 6th of May. And I do a lot of workshops. I'm an entrepreneur specialist and coach. And I was doing one of my yearly workshops, and Amanda was on it. And but she said to me, something's happening in her life and it's very exciting. She needs to share with me, or wants to share with me, but let's finish the course. So I said, yeah, fine, no, absolutely no problem. But actually, Amanda, please close your ears. But I thought to myself, like, I know she's kind of into network marketing, and that's not my scene. I'm kind of allergic to that stuff, stayed away from it forever, not interested. But because I know, love, and trust Amanda, I said, let's talk. And it was a Wednesday evening. We talked for about an hour, and she was just gushing over with stories of miracles, like miracle after miracle. I couldn't stop her, so I just sat back and just listened, okay? But also what came through was immense gratitude at this thing that she had, in her hands. And also in the next couple of weeks, the real gratitude at how her financial life was changing. Because at the time, it wasn't pretty. So that was, she would, I hope you don't mind me telling Amanda, but sometimes she would call me and like literally be in tears because, when you're struggling financially, it is a terrible place to be. And so anyway, so that night I was like, okay, I'm kind of, I didn't tell her, but I'm kind of sold here. I know when I want something. So I said, send me the links. And I watched the links that night. And that was it. I mean, I was just looking for more information. I started writing. I hadn't even signed up yet. I hadn't registered, but I was starting to write down everyone that I thought I could help, wanted to help. And that's how my story started. Started patching almost immediately, signed up and yeah, immediate result, like after about 7 days to 10 days, sleeping better, lots of energy. Amanda knows quite a few people who don't even really know me have called me the Energizer Bunny. Slow down. My students tell me to slow down, and like there's no slowing down. But my breathing improved as well. I've had problems with my nose since I was a kid, lots of nosebleeds and things like that. But I just want to share a quick story because, like Amanda with the kidney functions, I didn't realize I went for blood tests for something else November last year, and my cholesterol and my glucose levels were quite high, which was quite shocking to me because I've never really had anything wrong with me. But I didn't do any like it, I kept it in mind, kept on patching. I went back to the doctor 2.5 months later for an insect bite, and they did my blood test, and my cholesterol and glucose were completely normal. Complete, I asked her to repeat it because I couldn't believe it because I haven't been doing anything different. I'm a fairly healthy person. Um, so things like that, as Amanda said, as you go on, more and more things happen. Now, Amanda and other people don't know this, but a couple of months ago, I got a real scare. This is a new testimonial. I was trying to sleep one Sunday evening and I had this shocking, terrible pain down my left arm and pins and needles, and I freaked out because apparently the left side of your body's got to do with your heart. The next day, immediately went to the doctor. He said, no, absolutely, it's not your heart. He said, you've got one of the healthiest hearts I've ever seen, which I was happy to hear. But I went for x-rays and the C4 and C5 disc in my neck, there's some, he doesn't know what happened, but it's out of sync. You can actually see the space. So, there's no ways I'm going for an operation. He said, just be careful, don't lift up heavy things and that kind of thing. Just kept on patching X39. And I promise you to this, like now, I do not have those sensations at all. So what I'm going to do is I've also started patching with X49, but I'm going to leave it a couple more months, go back to my doc and ask him, let's have an X-ray because I'd like to see, because I really, there's absolutely no pins and needles, nothing. So that is quite phenomenal. And just lastly, before we start, I also patch my little doggy. I've got two dogs, but my one dog is 15 years old and he's my baby. He's on his twin seat right next to me here. So I just really want to make sure that he's around for, I want him to live for about 2022. Like that's what I can cope with. So I patch him every day. He uses my secondhand patches. And honestly, the vet is just amazed. He's one of her favorite patients because he's just in such good health, and recuperates from operations really quickly and that kind of thing. So that's my story for now. I'm sure there'll be more testimonials as the months go on. But over to you, Amanda.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, Kim. It's really awesome. So I'm going to go screen sharing. There's just a button or two that I have to press before we can start. So if you'll just be a little bit patient with me. Cool. We get almost finished. Right. let's see what we can tell you about LifeWave.
Light, an ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. For us, it all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we're made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. Plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. LifeWave's phototherapy patches use light that can promote a general state of health and healthy activity unique to each LifeWave patch. Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared energy emitted from the body is reflected back into the body and then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy. LifeWave phototherapy patches promote an environment that enables the body to optimize its restorative energy and enhances your ability to live well without the use of harmful drugs or chemicals. To find out more, contact your distributor. LifeWave. Live long, live well.
Awesome. So, question is, have you been patched yet? We're going to tell you, for those who have not been patched yet, how these patches can elevate, activate, and regenerate your body and just change your life completely, as you can hear from me and Kim, and you'll hear some more stories later on. So first of all, we just want to set a disclaimer to say that your body is unique, your results may differ, and that LifeWave is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. So we always start by telling you about David Schmidt. He is the CEO and inventor of LifeWave, and he's got more than 180 patents. Actually, it's more than 200 now already. He's a scientist and inventor. He specializes in age reversing. And in 2008, David started focusing his attention on stem cell research. And his recent patent took 10 years and 4.5 million to bring to market. We just all love him because he's the most humble person. And it's just amazing seeing what he does, what his mindset is, and we really love and are grateful for what he's brought to the market. So one of the patents that the X39 patent he's got, you can see here is, you can read there some of the things that it's doing. But what I want to say about the patent, you don't just get a patent, you have to prove that what's in the patent is the truth, and clinical trials, all kinds of things has to be proven before you can actually get a patent, and a patent is given for 20 years. So our X39 patent still have 15 years left before that patent runs out, which means that nobody else can have it. Nobody else can do the same thing. If you have other people that say, oh, we also have patches like that, they might have patches. It's not the X39 LifeWave patch. The technology is patented, which means that nobody else knows what is in there, how it works, and that is what we've got. We've got something really unique on our hands. So more information on the clinical studies to support all these patents can be found on this website, www.thisisitinfo.com, and we will talk about that website later on again. So there are many different products, 10 or 11 patches, other patches that was created in the previous 20 years. But tonight we're going to talk about the X39, because that is the flagship of LifeWave patches. This is when that came onto the market 5 years ago. Everything changed, and you'll see Kim will tell us more about that. But it's really amazing, the X39 patches, those are the ones that we're going to talk about tonight. So let's talk about stem cells. Why are stem cells important? Stem cells are able to make more cells like themselves, so they self-renew, and they can become other cells that do different things in a process known as differentiation, and they are needed for the maintenance of tissue as well as repair of the injury. So when a baby is formed, that first little cell that with conception is a stem cell. And we all know, you see the picture, and it divides and it becomes that little one single cell. Later on becomes an eye and an arm and a liver and a thyroid. and it comes from one single cell. Now, our body's got millions of these cells, stem cells in our bodies. And what's so amazing is how bodies are made that if you cut your finger, the stem cells rush to your finger and they become new skin cells. And you get a new skin and healing takes place. Or if you've got a liver problem, the skin cells will go to your liver and become new liver cells, and you get new young liver cells. And that is how your whole body regenerates and heals itself. So that is what stem cells do. But why are we talking about the X39, which is a stem cell regeneration reactivation patch? How it works is that the fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age and the slower you heal. So millions of people are, well, everybody are experiencing the symptoms of aging. The problem is by the age of 30, only half of your stem cells are still active. And at the age of 60, you lose almost all your stem cell activity. So let's talk about how X39 then works. It's a proprietary form of phototherapy, which is just a big name to say it's patented. We don't know what's in there. It belongs to David Schmidt, the patent. Okay, but it's phototherapy. What that means is light therapy. And the easiest way for me to explain it, it's like when you go out in the sunlight falls on your skin and it activates something in your body so that more vitamin D gets created in your body, right? But there's no vitamin D in the sunlight, okay? It activates the sunlight in your body. This is the same. That is phototherapy, light therapy. Now, with the X39, it's patented nanocrystal technology, and that's also a big word just to say it's very, very, very small crystals. So nano just means it's minute, very small crystals. And the crystals is made from sugar and salt and amino acids, so it's nothing fancy. It's just little crystals. It reflects light to activate, so it uses the infrared light in your body, reflects back to your body. I always think of it as a little mirror that just shines onto your skin as the infrared light reflects back, and then it activates the stem cells. Lots of things, but in the end, it activates the stem cells in your body. It's non-transdermal, so nothing in this little patch. Nothing in this patch. There's nothing that goes into your skin. Nothing penetrates into your skin. It's non-invasive. You don't even, to get new stem cells, you don't even need an injection or a drip or anything like that. There's no drugs, no chemicals, no stimulants. Just this little patch goes onto your skin. So the benefits of X39 is, these are just a few, and most of us can just testify to that. Increased strength, reduced inflammation, increased stamina, energy and vitality, mental clarity, which is one of the first things that people always talk about, restored muscle and skeletal conditions, improvement of sleep, definitely, improved skin appearance. So this will help you to achieve an optimal health, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So let's talk about the long-term results of X39. And you can see the case studies that proves these things that we are claiming here. On thisisit.info.com, you can see the case studies. So it's proven that within the first few days, 4,000 of your genes begin to reset. This is quite spectacular. Within 6 weeks, your brain becomes balanced. Within 3 months, your collagen is increased. And within 6 months, your heart reverses in age. And the clinical studies actually show that there's a reversal in your age of your heart of up to 8 years. Guys, this is just spectacular. So that is why David Schmidt is saying it's not anti-aging. It doesn't stop you from aging. It's actually age reversing. You actually become younger. That's amazing. So we are so fortunate that we've got topography maps, which shows us, which proves actually what happens in your body. So this in one of the case studies that was done, of the clinical trials that was done, there was this participant. She was a 77-year-old woman, and she came in with a lot of a lack of brain coherence, a lot of inflammation in her brain. You can see there in the session 1 with lots of red and orange and yellow in the brain, which is a sign of the inflammation. And then they put the X39 on the back of her neck, and by session 2, and that was 3 weeks later on X39, She had no more inflammation and improved brain coherence. And by session 3, you can see the complete turnaround, better brain coherence. And what's important is that her brain remained calm after wearing the patch for 6 weeks. This is just a picture of other topography maps where you can see how the inflammation reduced in people's hands and body. It's so amazing that we can actually see it, as we were talking earlier on in blood tests as well. And this is just a fun fact. Lots of people report that their hair grow back tremendously. And so we always laugh about the gray hair that also comes back in black. So that is quite interesting. And then we have many athletes on patches. You can see there Michael Phelps and Sean May, David Beckham, and so on. But what's interesting to me about this is that LifeWave doesn't sponsor any athletes. Athletes that wear these patches wear it because they want to. And what I found very interesting, when Michael Phelps, there in 2004, he won many medals. And actually there were so many complaints about all the medals that he won that he was stripped of his medals. And then they did all the blood tests to check, and they were sure that he was on drugs and stimulants. They couldn't find anything, and they gave him back all these medals. So that was really something to hear. So how are you going to wear your X39? You're going to wear your patch 12 hours on and 12 hours off. And it's very important to stick to that. Don't wear it longer. Your body needs time to repair and rejuvenate. And you can see you're going to wear it probably behind your neck, the back on your back, or under your navel. You can wear it like that. But this patch is actually so amazing. So actually, if you've got a headache, just put it on your head. And if you've got an arm ache, just put it in your arm. You know, it just works. It just works. So after 12 hours, you can throw the patch away. Then you can put a new patch on the next day, and you repeat. So when you buy your patches, you get it in an envelope, and there's 30 patches in there. So every day a new patch, and then you can wear more than one patch at a time, not more than one X39, because you're just going to waste your money. It's not necessary, but you can wear some of the secondary patches. So we've got the patches that will work for inflammation and for pain. There are many different patches. You can wear more than one patch, and then you drink plenty of water and electrolytes, which is very important, because drinking more water, drinking electrolytes is going to help your patches to work better. But I just want to say something here. We say we throw the patch away. Very few of us do that, because we know that the clinical trials were done on 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and that's the best results that you will get. But as a bonus, we know there's still some working left in the patches, and many of us will then take the patches and then stick it on a child or a pet or even plants, and you can't believe the results that people get on that. All right, so there's a 90-day protocol. David Schmidt, who invented it, he knows what's best, and he suggests that we use the patches for at least 90 days to get optimum results. You know, I always say to people, it's like if you are diagnosed with diabetes and the doctor says you have to start using insulin, and you say, I think I'll use it for a week, and, you know, if it doesn't work, I'm not going to stop using it. I mean, we don't do that. The patches are the same. We get amazing results. We get people what we call one patch wonder, like I was a one patch wonder, but the best results really come as you keep on using it, and your body gets a chance to keep on healing more and more and more things that you're not even aware of, as Kim was saying, like with me with the kidney functions as well. We are not even aware of what's going on in your body, but the healing process starts the moment you put that patch on your skin or near your body. The healing process starts. Okay, so the most common reason for any lack of response to the patches is dehydration and electrolytes. Make sure you do it right. Make sure you wear it for 12 hours on, take it off after 12 hours, and you'll get the best results. So there's an amazing website. It's called thisitsitinfo.com, because the name is the name of our team, and it's because once you've seen it, it's like, this is it. This is it. I found the answer to my problems, and this is the website. You can just take a picture or write it down. We'll show it later on again. But this is the website that gives you loads of information. You can see interviews with doctors. You can get the clinical trials. You can get many testimonies, information about the patches, everything. You can spend a little time there or a lot of time there. everything you want to know is basically there. So X39 is so sophisticated, but it's so simple to explain. And the testimonies of X39 is life-changing and emotional. So because it actually works. So I'm going to stop the recording, not the recording, the sharing now. And I'm going to give people the opportunity here to just share with us, those who have been patched. And please tell us what has happened to you. Are you happy that you started patching? Will you stop patching? What has your results been? Mandy, I know you've got an amazing story, so I'm just going to throw you under the bus and ask you to share with the people here. What has happened to you since you started patching? And why did you listen? What happened? Why did you start with the patches?
I was a slow learner, so that's my one downfall. I was a little bit like Kim in that I was, this is not for me. Trish told me about it almost a year, or May last year, and I took a lot of time last year reading the clinical trials, looking at the case studies, lots and lots of testimonies. And I was diagnosed in 2016 with ME, which is like an autoimmune disease. I was bedridden for about 18 months, but then really was able to manage symptoms with medication, antidepressants, anti-inflammatories, sleeping tablets. So managed it fairly well, and knew that there was no exercise for me, no exertion, because then it would be like 3 days that I would be in bed. And then along came menopause, and that just threw everything into disarray. So the beginning of this year, I had an appointment with I think you call them endocrinologists, the hormone people. But I really was so tired of being on medication, and so tired of just feeling like, everything depended on all this medication. And so I just prayed and I said, God, please show me what the solution is. And Trish is actually my insurance broker. She phoned me that day and she was like, how you doing? And I said, I'm really not feeling great. So she said, you know what I'm going to say? Why don't you just give the patches a try? So I decided, you know what, let me do that. And I patched, and you guys remember all the days. I think I had quite bad brain fog and I don't even remember, but I just remember putting this patch on and not really expecting very much from it, to be honest. And then woke up the next day and realized that I'd actually forgotten to take my sleeping tablet. And normally, if I hadn't taken my sleeping tablet by like 11 o'clock, I would be wide awake and that would be me tickets for the night. But I'd actually slept through the night to the point that I like had to rush to the toilet, because normally I visit the toilet. I do all kinds of things at night. And so then thought, okay, well, maybe that's just a coincidence, whatever. And then we went away. We had to go up to Lesotho to sort out some stuff there, and I'd forgotten my antidepressants behind. And normally what would happen is, because they're quite strong, if I don't take them for a day or two, I actually felt this incredible, I don't know how to explain it other than like an echo in my head the whole time. But obviously realized when we got to the top of Sani Pass, I had no tablets. And but by the third day, realized I hadn't felt that withdrawal thing, hadn't felt any of that. But had continued to sleep so incredibly well. I mean, that just for me is the biggest game changer, really, is the sleep. From the time I had Rebecca's 28 this year, I've not slept through. I developed very bad insomnia and have always just lived with that. So it's the most incredible feeling to wake up at 5 a.m. and that's the first time that you've actually woken up that night. It's just been been patching now for about 2 months. So I started patching with X39 and the anti-inflammatory patch for about a month. And then I went for a bone density scan and they said that I was on the road to developing osteoporosis. So I decided to try the X49. Left the Eon, went on to X49 and X39. And the most incredible thing happened in that I all of a sudden could go for a run. I hadn't run in years. Went for a run, was able to do some weight training, and sit-ups. I mean, the sit-ups were the most exciting things. And the plank, the plank, I could never even get up onto my elbows.
Wow.
And so, that even Gavin was like, where did you learn to do that? And I was like, I don't know, just did it. So it's been, for me, I've been so incredibly grateful. The hot flushes have gone. My weight has started to drop. I'd put on about 25 kgs since COVID. So I got a long way to go with the weight, but just did not have the headspace. Was craving sugar intensely. The cravings have completely gone. And yeah, so it's been from a wellness point of view, and just feeling the brain fog have gone. Like I every day I just feel so incredibly grateful for the fact that I have on this journey and feeling like a new person. I haven't felt like this for decades, to be honest. So yeah, so for I never really intended to go into it from a business point of view, but it's kind of like, how can I not share with other people, knowing exactly what you're saying, Amanda, that there are a lot of people that are struggling with pain and inflammation, and I cannot not tell people about it. So I started to tell people about it, and then went into what they call the back office, and suddenly saw there's $50 sitting there. So I'm like, well, I don't know how that happened. So I phoned Trish. I said, Trish, I think there's been a mistake. Like, there's $50 sitting in my e-wallet. So then realized that not only, and I think this is the heart of David, is that he believes that God has given him this thing and that it's for everyone to share. And that just is so different. The teams around, like Amanda and Kim and Trish and everyone, kind of checking to see if you're okay, checking to see how can I help you. That is not, I'm not used to that. I'm not that I'm a network marketing fundy. I'm not a salesperson, actually. I'm quite shy, so I battle to talk to people. But it's been such an incredible group of people that have, everyone just wants everyone to succeed, and that's very, very different to what I'm used to. So yeah, so I just really thank you for the opportunity to share. I really am so incredibly grateful. I'm on no medication whatsoever anymore.
Wow.
I've come off everything. I've the whole electrolyte thing and all of that, I'm really sort of working on getting that right. But yeah, I'm just really, where I felt like I was heading into a year to go on to hormone replacement and all of those things. And now being in a place where I'm not on any of that, not looking to go on any of that, but and having the energy, having the energy to I get up at 6 most mornings to go and exercise. I just haven't been able to do that for the longest time. So yeah, so I'm just so grateful. I could go on and on and on, but I really am I'm grateful. So thank you for the opportunity, Amanda.
Wow. I am so glad that we have this small call where we can hear so much of your story. I haven't heard the story about the X49, and hearing where you said you couldn't, if you did any exertion, you were out for 3 days. Now you're exercising every morning, you're doing all these things. It's no wonder you cannot keep quiet.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got one other thing that I want to share that is a new thing I just remembered. And the male on the call is my cousin, so I can tell him, and I've got Cheryl's husband here who's a friend. So excuse me, guys, but I've just got to share this. So one of the things that I struggled with was incontinence. And so I couldn't get out of the car without rushing. So everyone knows, Becca will testify to this. When I get out the car, everyone's got to step aside because I've got to rush to the toilet. So the other day I get out the car and my helper says, says to my little girl and Paul, move, Mimi's got to go to the bathroom. And I was like, I don't have to rush. So it wasn't even just, it was like it's a problem, you know? And so in the last couple of days, I've noticed that that has also started to improve, which obviously for me is quite nice. You
Huge.
don't want to always be rushing to the toilet. It's a bit embarrassing. But so that's also something that I have noticed in fact, I haven't even told anyone, but it's sort of something that I've noticed in the last 4 or 5 days.
I wondered
You
why you
know,
weren't rushing to the toilet when you arrived home today. I was like,
it's
that's
amazing.
strange.
It's amazing. That was the first thing that happened with my sister as well. Instead of going to the toilet 3 times a night, she just started sleeping through because she didn't have to go to the toilet. Yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes you go to church and you have the worship, and then like after that you feel like, okay, we can go home now. No, I feel like that. It's like you said everything, and I think you so said the heart of us is that I can't keep quiet. How can you keep quiet if this happened to you? And how can you not tell people? And then a lot of people say, I never want to do the business. It's not doing the business. It's just you can't keep quiet. You can't sleep because you think of everybody that you want to help. And
Yeah.
hearing your story, it's blessed me so much today because I've only heard it. I mean, I spoke to you a week ago, and you didn't have all these stories. It's like it's so exciting hearing all the new things, and it's just fantastic. So for a last thing I want to ask, I don't know if Cheryl is brave enough, but I'd love for her to just tell us what happened with her sleep.
Okay.
I'd
I'm going to hand her the
love,
laptop.
yes,
She's on the
please.
spot, so she doesn't matter. It
Yes, I
doesn't
know
matter
she's
whether
on the
she's
spot.
brave or
I
not
know.
or not.
Yeah. I do that. I
That's
throw
okay.
people under the bus, and then amazing things happen. So I heard this story yesterday, and I just feel that people need to hear what happened to you. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I've had fibromyalgia for 20 something years, and chronic insomnia is one of the symptoms of that. And I literally, as I said to you yesterday, sometimes I would hear the birds singing in the morning and I'd think, I can't believe it. It's morning and I haven't slept yet. And doctors often say to you that when you say you didn't sleep a wink, they actually, you're exaggerating. You did. You slept on and off and you didn't realize it. But literally, I would stay on my phone. I would listen to something. I would read a book. I would sometimes get up because of the frustration of being in bed and not being able to sleep. And it would get to 4, 5 a.m., depending on the season. And I would hear the birds and I'd think, I'm up again and I haven't slept at all. Sometimes I never even got into bed. So I remember in particular, and I didn't tell you this, there was one occasion where I didn't sleep for 3 days in a row and I couldn't sleep during the day. I just didn't sleep. And so when I started patching, I was a bit like Mandy. I thought, okay, Mandy actually gave me some patches to start. I had a pinched nerve. I was in pain. She said, let's just try, because I was desperate. I hadn't slept. I was in pain all the time because of the fibromyalgia, and I have another chronic thing. Anyway, she gave me the patches and I thought, okay, well, let's just see. Not expecting huge results because I'd been told it takes a while, and that's fair. It takes a little while for everything to kick in. And that has changed my life. I actually can sleep. I wake up where before I would be thinking, "Oh, it's morning." I get up and I think, oh, it's morning. I've actually had a decent night's sleep. And it really has changed my life completely. It's just, I think if you haven't suffered from chronic insomnia, you don't actually know how bad it can be and how debilitating the brain fog and everything else that goes along with that can be. And something that I didn't tell you yesterday, Amanda, is I've just been in hospital recently for something, and I've just told Mandy now that they did all my bloods when I was admitted, and one of the things of fibromyalgia is inflammation, and my inflammation markers were normal for the first time in 23 years. The one doctor looked at my blood test results and he said, you should be on this, but you're not. and your inflammation markers are normal. So that's why the other doctor didn't put you back on them. So that to me is incredible. Those two things alone. Now, I've got a long way to go. I'm still on my chronic meds. I'm going to come off them bit by bit. I'm really believing that will happen. You know, but honestly, those two things alone are incredible for me.
I'm sitting here with cold shivers. That is so absolutely fantastic. It blesses my heart. Thank you for sharing that. Gosh,
Pleasure.
guys, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'm well, okay, I'm going to give over to Kim because of the time, but I could sit here the whole evening listening, and I guess you all feel like that. So that's fantastic. Kim, I'm going to give over to you. Let's just continue with the sharing. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for all those amazing testimonials. So yes, now we talk about, I'm going to start speaking about the business opportunity, but what's most important in your life? This is one of my favorite slides in this presentation because it really gets to you. You know, we've got to think about it. What is most important? Is it like less debt, freedom, time freedom, family, security, whatever it is? And whatever it is, you can actually get it through LifeWave, and we've all experienced that. So, as I said, when I got into LifeWave, I honestly, truly, everyone, did not know a thing about the company. I didn't even know a thing about the patches. I just knew that this was something I could not do. As I've gone along, I've learned more about the company, and it's fantastic to hear. You know, it was just like I've struck gold. So it's a 20-year-old company. In fact, it's in over 85 countries now. And as Amanda said, sorry, I don't know if you said that, Amanda, but it's not a Me Too product. I think this is really, really important. There are a lot of fantastic companies out there, but very often they sell similar kinds of products. So it's a weight loss shake, it's CBD things, it's cleaning products, and they're all really good. I'm using some of them. But you know, when more than one company is selling them, then you start competing, and then it's too expensive, and you end up going to Clicks or something like that. So we are just one of a kind, right? In 2021, 20 million, which is pretty good. But then 2022, 320 million. This is no joke. I mean, this is real. Okay, I don't think it happens to most companies. 2023, 430 million. And last year, over 600 million. We're aiming for $1 billion this year. But I just want to quickly share that big jump was all because of X39, the stem cell patch. Okay. So there is a website called businessforhome.org, and they rate all the network marketing companies in the world, and we are rated as #1. And I think for a couple of years now, we're actually known as the darlings of the network marketing companies. Thank you, Amanda. So this is fantastic because we just heard that the Bravo Growth Award for direct selling. We received it in 2023, and we just heard recently that we also received it for 2024 in the world. You know, so this is absolutely amazing, and they're receiving the award for that. Of course, there's David Smith. So you're interested, you know, by this time, well, I was interested before I even saw this, but I really was. I really just jumped in with both feet in. I didn't know a single thing, and I said, I'm going to learn along the way. So there are a couple of buying options. You can buy as a normal customer, which is full retail price. We're just talking about X39 now, $150. Let's call it $150. Preferred customer, you've got to subscribe for 3 months because, as David Smith said, at least be on the patch for 90 days. Comes way down to $100. But then as a brand partner, when you register, you know, you've got special privileges. You get your own link, you get your own business. You don't have to work the business if you don't want to. But the powerful thing is you get your own link, so you can order whenever you want to, whatever you want to, and always at a wholesale price. And there's always promotions and discounts and things like that. Now, there are a couple of packages. So the core, the advanced, and the premium. And you really come in where you fit in. So that will, you know, if someone's interested, they'll come back to me, and then I'll really understand what their needs are and advise them on what the best package is for them. With the core, it's nice. You get 3 sleeves of X39, and you get a business. You get a full-blown business that you don't actually have to pay for. And then the advanced is $535. You get 6 leaves, so you can see that the price of the patches start coming down, and with the premium 1750. What's amazing about the premium, you get so much stock. So this is for the serious entrepreneurs such as clinics, pharmacies, pharmacists. We've got well-being practitioners in our group and that kind of thing. So they of course need a lot of stock. So that would be perfect for you. Okay, so how do you earn? Everyone always asks, how do you earn? So there's 5 amazing ways to earn, and I'm really not going to go into too much depth with the business side because, when I came in, so I'm coming from how I experienced it. It was just so overwhelming. I didn't know what was what. So as I went along, it made sense. As Mandy said, she looks in the back office. The same thing happened to me. There's $50 here. How did that happen? I didn't do anything. How did that happen? So when that money starts rolling into your back office, then you start asking the questions and then it starts making sense. So I'm not going to overwhelm you, but I just want to tell you that there's 5 ways. Retail, so you can sell the patches. You can introduce people, okay, to LifeWave. You get an introduction bonus. Cycle bonuses. So that is when we start growing our team, and that's what we love. Mandy spoke about that. And just someone yesterday, I congratulated on her on becoming a manager. And she said to me, Kim, I won't mention us, but she said, Kim, one of the best things about LifeWave so far for me is the community. I've never experienced anything like this, and that kind of made me want to cry. And then we get things called matching bonuses. Just because you're helping your team, because you want them to succeed, you also get rewarded. And not of their money or their points. The company just gives it to you to say thank you for what you're doing, okay? And then, of course, there are member incentives. There are lots of trips, lots of rewards and prizes. We know many people in our team that have gone on, just in the last year and a half, on many trips already. Amazing trips as well. So this is the one I want to focus on really. This is, one of the compensations plan, as we said, is building your team. So when you come in, we want to get to manager. And it sounds very complicated or big, the manager, but it's actually quite easy. So as Mandy said, she wasn't really interested in building the business, but when amazing things like that happen to you, like it happened to Mandy, like it's happening to Cheryl, people just ask, like, what has happened? And all of a sudden they're interested. So when you bring them into your team, you put one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right. You just go like that. So you build your little team. But the most amazing thing is you just need 4 people and they remain active on your left and right and you become manager. Why is it so important to become manager? Because up until then, you can earn $100 a week on cycle bonuses, which is nothing to be sneezed at. Okay, $100 a week in South Africa, especially now, guys, we are 20-1 with our exchange rate. Okay, so that's like 2,000 Rand a week. But when you manager, you can earn up to $1,500 a week. So we really, when you come in, we get you to manager, and all of a sudden, as Mandy said, the money starts coming in. Okay, as Amanda said, there are this site. This is at info.com. is all about the company, all about X39 case studies. A lot of people that are in our team are really interested in the research and that kind of thing. I didn't research a thing. I was just in, and that was that. Okay, but everyone's different. But we've also got another fantastic site called thisisitteam.com. And Steve and Gina Merritt, who are our, they started the This Is It team about 2.5 years ago in the States. They created this wonderful website of all the business information you could ever want to grow your business. So if you had to buy into a franchise, which personally I wouldn't recommend because it's hundreds and thousands of rands or dollars, you would get a manual on how to run your franchise, okay? So we've got this website, which is very easily done and easy to follow, and to support you growing your business. So those 2 websites are really important, and you can go and check them out. Okay, so David Smith is just, as Amanda said, he's just such a humble guy. And, you have an incredible opportunity before you today. The opportunity to bring the healing power of light to everyone around you. It's so interesting that this comes up now, Amanda, because just someone today messaged me and she said, Kim, please forgive me for sounding so silly, But I heard that it's all about light. She is patching, okay? She hasn't had time to look at the information. She's just she's patching. She says, but how does the light help when it's actually like under my t-shirt, but the sun doesn't, touch the patch? So I explained, just as you explained, Amanda, how it actually works, the amazing power of light. So this is the time to make your move. Are you serious about your dream? I just love that question. Are you serious about your dream? And there really is hope. Some people are desperate to change their health and desperate to live their best lives. I really want to live my best life. So there really is hope. There is something out there. And it's just about getting started with X39. And you cannot imagine what will happen on the journey until you actually start. Because what's happening with most of us, like, I saw Mandy shake her head. She had no clue this would happen in her life, what's happening right now. It's literally changing her life, changing my life, changing all of our lives. So just get started with X39. It's as simple as that. And how do you do that? You just get back to the person who shared this opportunity with you. So if Amanda invited you, if Mandy invited you, you just get back to them. They'll show you how to do it and answer all of your questions. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Kim. You did an awesome job as always. And I want to say thank you to everybody that was here on the call. Thank you, Mandy and Cheryl, for your amazing testimonies. And thank you for all the guests. Go out now and go and tell other people about this amazing opportunity, how their lives can change. You never know what's going to happen in time to come. As Kim says, none of us knew what would happen with us. And imagine where we will be in a year's time from now. So I'm going to stop the recording quickly. And then we will have a time of questions and answers, just some informal questions and answers. Thank you, everybody.